We might be having some connection difficulties, but we'll just have fun with everybody in here.
Okay.
So,
Are we connected to StreamYard right now?
Yeah.
Or technically we are.
yeah. So we're good. Whenever you want to kick it off. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll sit if that's right. There we go. We're live. Perfect. Want to frame up a little bit better?
Yeah.
Is it morning? It is evening. Okay, it's afternoon.
Barely.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome over here in the corner. We are Scarves and Spikes. Feel free, enjoy your meal, be merry, be well. We are here because, of course, there's a match happening at 3 o'clock right behind us here at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And we're here to kick that off. It is the FIFA Club World Cup. Chelsea, where my Chelsea fans at?
There we go.
I saw a lot of blue
There's a ton of blue out
on the
there.
walk there, but I'm happy to see some representation from our MLS club over here, LAFC. Where are my fans at?
There we go.
There
I
we
like
go.
it.
I don't want to show my bias.
I mean, there's a little bit of Atlanta United going on here, but we're not going to talk about them right now because, A, they're not in this, and B, it's just not working out for them.
I feel like the Southern Hospitality was just welcoming them to use our stadium. That's what that was there for.
100%. 100%.
But while my face may look familiar, fun fact, I am actually on the marketing for the spa.
Yes, you are.
That's just a coincidence. This isn't. Again, we're covering Club World Cup over here. We're going to be touching on some previous matches. Also, some Gold Cup. Good news finally coming out of the U.S. Speaking of another home team, if you will. U.S. taking home a dub. And a couple other football topics. So feel free, engage, but also more than anything, the drinks are great, the food is great, and hopefully this conversation will be too, depending on the club you're rooting for. Tyler, without further ado.
Yeah, guys, we appreciate y'all coming out, first of all. Most of you might not even know we would be here, which is fine. You're here now. We're going to talk some footy. We're going to enjoy it. And we're going to go watch this awesome game next door inside the Benz. Raise your hand, make some noise. Is this your first time at or inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Yeah? Lots of y'all? Raised hands, I see them.
First timers, well, welcome.
Yes, welcome for sure.
I'm curious to see who's traveled the farthest. Obviously, right, Premier League is still number one viewed football as far as America's concerned. Is anybody actually coming from across the pond to represent Chelsea? Okay, cool. Still cool if you're here. Word? Wow. Love that. London.
Hey, let's go. Good
London.
stuff.
Insane. Anybody come from LA to represent LAFC? There we go.
There you go. Awesome. Lots of LA folks.
To me, that's might as well be the same flight.
I mean, for real. Yeah, it's about the same distance.
The United States is pretty big. You know, you go overseas, and they're like, I don't understand why people clock things over in the States by hours, because for us, 4 hours, you're still in the same state. Over there, you're touching on 3 or 4 different countries.
Yeah, and we talk about, these MLS teams and trying to play away games. We use Atlanta and LA as an example. Either one of the LA teams, I mean, you're crossing multiple time zones, and for LA, I mean, just coming out here, they're training down in Macon, Georgia, which from here is about an hour south. So they're going to be making that bus trip up, to the stadium, which an hour in England on a bus gets you past hundreds of other football stadiums.
That's pretty incredible when you think about it. I mean, the jet lag, obviously, that they're facing, but then just being in a different time zone as well, I feel like there'll be equal footing as far as the preparation and the sleep may be. We'll see how it is on the pitch. So do we want to touch on Gold Cup first before we get really deep into the Club World Cup?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good way to start. Lots of national stuff going on right now. The U.S. men's have a shout out because U.S. soccer is now based here in Atlanta, which is awesome. About 20 miles as the crow flies anyway, that way. But, the U.S. is has needed a home for a long time. And here we are now, almost exactly 1 year to the day before the the World Cup comes to this city, starts a little earlier. But the U.S. has needed a place to call home for the longest time. They found Atlanta. They started building this massive headquarters just south of us. And they hired Mauricio Pochettino. And I think with the drama between the Federation, Pulisic not playing, in these essentially the friendlies, now the Gold Cup starting, they needed something to kind of take the bad press away for a little bit. And then they got it last night against Trinidad and Tobago, who famously knocked them out of the 2018 World Cup, or the chance to get in it anyway.
Payback.
Payback for sure.
Speaking of Atlanta United tie-in, it was cool to see Jay Fortune in the mix there, representing Trinidad and Tobago. But like you said, they needed that win. It was a couple stubbed toes on the way to that victory.
Yeah.
But also nice to see other players getting some shine, kind of getting used to, was it 5-0 at the end of that match?
5-0, yeah.
Needed, and not just a win, but a statement win like that. Because as we possibly will see with, right, even some of your clubs could surprise you, have that behind. So not just winning, but winning with a statement and winning with the pool that you have. My hope is that they continue on that momentum, looking at the odds with the streak that they've had in form. Who's to say? But again, we can only hope that they compound upon that and keep it going.
Yeah. So next for the U.S. and then Haiti following them Sunday. So,
and I wouldn't those matches.
No.
I got to win with Haiti easily, but Saudi Arabia, I mean, Argentina.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Famously in that first match.
Exactly, as far as being hungry and being ready. So again, these are, especially given the recent form, you can't look at any of these matches as an easy victory. You have to go in with the right mindset and knowing that we're here to dominate. And also for all these other players getting that shine, that call up, hey, I'm playing for this position. We have a guy and a winger or an attacker, somebody that's just, or even a right wing back, left wing back that's saying, maybe I don't need to play this one, or injury, what have you, right? They want to at least show face to Pochettino and to the U.S. I'm ready for the call up. I'm your Huckleberry. Put me in, coach. So I'd love to see it, and hopefully we can come with some gold in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the big primer, right? A year before the actual World Cup makes its way to our shores. And it's a great opportunity, for some of these guys. And I think that's kind of what Pochettino is trying to do, is give some of the, maybe not the old guard, their chance. And to be fair, it didn't work out well in the past couple of matches, but he stuck with some of these guys like Luca De La Torre, who's been phenomenal. Malik Tillman last night had an amazing match. Diego Luna has increased his
Diego Luna has increased his star power,
yes,
for sure.
For sure. Moon Man.
You can tell he wants it.
He wants it bad. And it's good to see, because you're going to need the entire team sheet come the World Cup next year to be involved and heavily participating. It can't just be the 11 guys that you put out on the pitch to start the first match and you got to rely on them the entire time. You saw it in 2022. Once they made it out of the group stage, they just kind of petered off in that one match. And look, they're playing a really good Netherlands side at the time. But, I think you expected a little bit more. And Pochettino, being the man kind of leader he is, as opposed to just a quote-unquote coach, this is an opportunity, I think, to take some of the guys that we'll say have been under the radar and give them that moment to really shine and settle in a place come a year from now.
To wrap up Gold Cup thoughts as far as U.S. men's, the way I look at it, I'm happy, obviously, with the win. You need to put a lot of people's minds at ease, but I am happy to see different faces in their formation, because you can only do the same thing for so long and keep getting the same result or less. And you look at characters like Diego Luna, who was just on that cutting edge of getting in these past couple of groups before Pochettino came in. And again, you see the same thing, switch it up a little bit. Who's hungry? Who wants it? Invite that competition that hopefully breeds excellence out of your next few matches. And they can, we can build around that, because if you keep hanging your hat on certain guys, not to pick on them, I think they're world-class players, but if you keep hanging your hat on the Pulisic, he's going to be our guy. McKinney, Tyler Adams, these are our guys, and we're just building around them. Well, they've only gotten us so far. I say that we can't continue to strive behind that, but we've opened the door with dual internationals, right? With Flo. Let's keep it going. Let's keep that momentum happening. As far as a new look, and to see maybe we get new outcomes with that new look.
For sure, and then to kind of put my little bow on the U.S. men's national team before we jump over to the game that everybody's actually here for, the opportunity that presents itself for a lot of these guys, and you're saying it, I was saying it, but you need somebody to step up here in the next year, preferably a couple of guys. You mentioned the veterans, obviously Pulisic, who that's the source of the drama right now. Tyler Adams, big name. Kind of the guy that really stepped up and showed who he was. Yeah, I think maybe deserves that moniker a little more than somebody else that has it. So no, I mean it's they have to have a strong Gold Cup, period. Whoever's playing, it has to be a standout performance through every match. But you go from here, build whatever momentum, and momentum's funny in international football because you're not playing week in and week out. You're jumping from month to month. Take the momentum that you build now and whatever relationships that are fostered now and go forward with it. You have to come in a year from now swinging.
Especially because, like you said, World Cup is literally knocking on this door.
Yep.
And so many other beautiful stadiums here in this country that it's about time you shape up.
Yeah.
Because you might be shaping out real soon. Speaking of World Cup, clearly we're here honoring and welcoming in the Club World Cup. Just first off, as a concept, it had to be FIFA that would put this together. This is stuff that you do in the game, right? You put your club into a league that they do not belong in just because you want to see that type of competition. You go and you create a season and you're going up against Dortmund, going up against Boca Juniors, you have those random generated cups that you play for at the beginning. To finally create that and have that, I think is a really cool concept, albeit, there's been some drama on pay discrepancies given the league you're coming from. And, I can't not mention that.
Yeah, for sure.
After seeing it. But as a fan, I can at least get behind that and honor the fact that this is childhood dreams coming true to see going up against these juggernauts, whether it be for league or some Argentinian teams coming up as well, that I'm just excited for it. I mean, we were talking about it a couple of days ago, Auckland, Australia. Where are my Auckland City fans at? Come on now.
Man. Good for those guys.
Good for them. Now, did they lose 10-0? Yes. Did we expect that? Yes.
Yeah.
But to see it, it's kind of like the U.S. Open Cup that we have here, where it's literally even the underlings, these smaller clubs that you've never heard about from a city that you've never been to, have the potential to play up and go up against the big dogs, at least here on the stateside, to take home proper hardware. And to see that amassed throughout the entire world, I'm a fan of it. I'm getting behind it. Shouts out to Auckland City, going up against Bayern Munich. Talk about a juggernaut. And it was cool to see Mueller get his goals and just run around.
Yeah, his 250th. That's amazing. In a what to them would essentially be a random stadium in Ohio. It's just a wild thing to think about. It wasn't at the Allianz. It wasn't, in Champions League over somewhere in Europe. It was at TQL Stadium.
Yeah, in our backyards, basically, depending on where you're tuning in from. So to see that, and then also the level of competition that the world is bringing too, right? We're talking about one shellacking, but another one that you could kind of compare. A Saudi team would be a little bit more funded, if you will, but going up against Miami, Inter Miami, you're talking about those legends, right? Those juggernauts with Messi, Suarez, Alba, all those, and 0-0. I mean, it was a intense match, but for them to still net zero across the board, that's something that, again, don't sleep on this. People are trying to play for hardware. They're trying to play for some trophies here.
Yeah, it was a fun, if you can call it fun, a fun 0-0 draw. Like, we want goals, right? You had a penalty shout, you had an opportunity, things happened in that game. What's interesting to me is that entire group has yet to score a goal. Nobody in that group has scored a goal yet. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich is handling the business for everybody, dropping 10 on Auckland City. But yeah, it's just that entire thought process behind the Club World Cup as a whole. You've had the Club World Cup, but this is the big one, right? This is the expanded format, the kind of new format that they want going forward. And, it's really cool to see these stories like Auckland City where, their goalkeeper is essentially working. I think he's a factory worker, or maybe he was the veterinary assistant or something. You got guys working for like Coca-Cola over in New Zealand. They have day jobs. And look, they deserve the right to be here, 100%. But the resources behind a team like Auckland versus Bayern Munich is night and day to the nth degree. So to see them come out, get dunked on by Munich, by one of the best clubs ever in world history, and keep their head held high, to me, you hope that they leave here. They might not score a goal at all in this tournament, but you hope that they leave here saying, hey, man, I got to do that. That was a really cool experience.
I mean, it was a random varsity team playing up against, our Team USA that we send to the Olympics. So it was quite the difference. But yeah, I mean, what an experience for those guys.
UGA versus like Griffin Tech. You know what I'm saying?
You like that reference?
I do. I love that reference.
Shouts out to Griffin Tech.
Favorites.
Speaking of also budgets in another way, right? We had mentioned in Miami. We have a couple matchups coming up where, you're looking at like a Seattle Sounders, and obviously MLS has their own cap restrictions, but when you open it up to other leagues that don't abide by the same rules, I'm curious to see where to come from. That dog in the fight. While you could say these clubs, all the players on that team are world class, right? When you look at in England, the team that goes to the World Cup, every guy on that squad is their guy on their own, respective clubs. So you look at that talent pool versus, again, let's take a Seattle Sounders where legit people, I mean, you're paid to play this game.
Great players.
It means you know what you're doing. But how are you going to take it to that nth degree when you're restricted by a salary cap, which means, speaking of experiences, we're going to have people coming from the academy and their respective teams and playing up against a Bayern Munich, playing up against a Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, where how do you swallow that and go, all right, I'm about to go up against, a World Cup Golden Boot winner, or, go up against this team that, dominated the World Cup, dominated my country, and I wasn't even on my country's team. How do you swallow that? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I mean, you look at even the game that's about to happen here at the Benz, LAFC, Chelsea. LAFC, their entire roster is getting paid less than some Chelsea players.
Easily.
That highlights the difference. And this is I'm not even going to call it like weekly at this point. It seems more often, but my soapbox moment of like, hey, MLS, do something with the salary cap, make it a little bit easier for these teams to compete. Also, pay the MLS players that are playing in this tournament. I mean, you got to say it. But look, share the wealth. And in this case, I mean, like I said, Chelsea, whoever it may be, Palmer, whoever, is getting paid a ton of money. And you look at what, even like Denny Bouanga for LAFC. his salary is nothing compared to that. So
There's a cap to that.
there's a massive gap, and it's interesting to see because when you look last night at Seattle and Botafogo, Seattle, first half they were rough. Second half, they gave Botafogo a little bit of a run. They were honestly the better team in the second half. Hey, that's football. The gap isn't as big as like Auckland City and Bayern Munich. You can expect most of the teams in this competition to at least be competitive. I think you're not going to have a ton of upsets that you maybe would have in other tournaments, but I think there's going to be a few to be had for sure.
To echo your point, I'm with you, especially after seeing Atletico Madrid versus PSG. I don't know about upsets happening anytime in their near future. I mean, they look fresh off that
They did.
Champions League win.
Dropping 5 on Milan.
They look unstoppable. They really do. They look good. Atletico couldn't figure them out pretty much in the first half. Granted, there was like a questionable, I think it was a Julian Alvarez goal that was kind of like a questionable foul early on that led to that goal that was
Yeah, it
taken
was
back.
a turnover that then kind of broke everybody loose, and it was an amazing goal, and I hate that it got taken away because it was
Yeah.
a beautiful goal. But yeah, it's just little things like that that are going to be the big difference makers in this tournament.
But if I'm a betting man, I'm looking at PSG winning it, to be quite fair.
Over Madrid, over Real Madrid.
As far as making it, and yeah.
I mean, I think that's fair.
Just clean across the board. Yeah, I would,
I mean, they've got the momentum, right? Like
and that's
league. So
Exactly.
yeah, this is a perfect opportunity
not saying that they couldn't be dethroned by a Real Madrid,
on any given day for sure.
or even Man City. They're coming here on the 22nd. Not to say that they couldn't be dethroned. You're playing the Champions League for a reason. You're a champion, right?
Yeah.
So I just think, again, they're true in form right now that they're kind of lockstep to taking this thing away if they dial in and just keep that as the focus.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll pivot it over to dive into this match, but before we do, really want to give a quick shout out to the Nest on 4 Bar with Signia by Hilton Atlanta for hosting us, for having us hang out. Y'all get you a drink if you don't already have one. The mojitos are bangers. I love a mojito, and I'm a little bit of a mojito snob. Going to give away a couple of shots here in a second. I see people's ears perk up when we start talking about alcohol.
Free shots.
So it's free shots.
I'm out with that.
I do want to throw this out there. I'm going to give the shameless plug. If you can go to YouTube and go subscribe to Scarves and Spikes, we truly, truly appreciate it. We are not just an Atlanta United podcast. We are not just MLS. We cover the U.S. soccer organization as a whole. And then, obviously, we're going to be here on the ground for the entire Club World Cup as well. So y'all go do that. We'd appreciate it. But I'm giving away a couple of drinks. Should we start with Chelsea or should we start with LAFC?
I mean, I'd say,
I heard my boy out here say Chelsea.
I mean, he's a little young to drink, but hey, we'll go with Chelsea.
Maybe mom can have the drink. All right, we'll go with Chelsea. So, all right, you can Google, and this is going to be one of those like come up here with the answer, kind of whoever gets here first. Like, please don't turn this into college football and take out on the way. But I'm going to ask a little bit of a trivia question, Chelsea. I'll get up here and we can get you a shot of whatever liquor of your choice. So I kind of like this one because it's not super obvious. Of course, there's probably like a Chelsea fan out here right now that knows like every single one of these, over 100 years of history kind of thing. But big name, I like this one. So here it is. What player has the most international appearances while an active Chelsea player? So what player for their country has the most caps? Frank Lampard. That's it. All right. If you come up here and we'll talk, we'll get you your shot. And then also, really quick, before you jump back in, Tony, we kind of pride ourselves this podcast, this show, of getting the fans involved, getting the fans' opinions. So if anybody wants to get up here on the mic for a couple minutes just to chat about, hey, the city, first time here, excited about the game, Club World Cup, screw Messi, screw whatever you want to talk about. Let me know. Y'all come up here. We'll get you in. All right. What's your name, buddy? Dan? Yeah. Okay. What's your liquor of choice? What do you want a shot of? Tequila. Man, everybody, I do this, and so many people pick tequila. And I'm like, man, is it the clothes kind of thing? Like,
tequila's a good shot.
It is
a good shot to take.
I will get you a tequila shot headed your way. You want to give your thoughts about the game, or you?
I think it'll be an interesting game. We'll see what happens. But
you have a prediction?
2-1 LAFC.
Hey, okay, going for LA. All right, that's good.
Didn't expect that. Did not see that coming. 2-1 LAFC. I think he's being nice. Wow.
Hey, keep it competitive though, right? Appreciate it, buddy. We'll get you a tequila shot.
2-1 LAFC. As far as, again, representing MLS and being here, LAFC had to fight their way to get in here, beating Club America in order to do so, which was no slouch either. But to take it on a Premier League team and to go 2-1, I like the sound of that. If I'm picking a dark horse for the Club World Cup, I would be remiss if I didn't say LAFC would be my dark horse.
100%.
I'd say just because they always get in contention with some hardware, and granted, we won a couple years ago, but Supporter Shield and a MLS Cup, I feel like, is just doing a disservice to that club as far as how many runs they go on and how far they go into these tournaments. So, that being said, LAFC for me. Who's your dark horse, Tyler?
My dark horse?
Yes.
I mean, LAFC is a good shout for sure. By the way, if you had $10 on Auckland City had figured out a way to not get dunked on by me, and they actually won the whole thing, you'd make $250,000. But that's not happening for Auckland. No, my dark horse, I think
that would be the biggest miracle on ice, Rudy story.
That would be insane.
That would be a documentary movie.
Yes, it would. I'm going to go with Benfica. Because I think that you're talking about dark horse. Any of the teams in Portugal, in my opinion, kind of are always overshadowed by everybody else in Europe. I think that they could come out and handle business because they're such a pain in the butt to play against. And once you get out of that group stage, man, it's anybody's game. So I'll give a shout to both of the Portuguese teams.
All right, good on you. Did we do an LAFC question, or are we doing now?
Yeah, we'll dive into I'll get both of these guys their shots at the same time. All right, so LAFC trivia now. And again, Google is your friend. You can Google it. You can check. I know you guys up here in the front, y'all are close by. But again, look it up. Run up here with the answer, and we'll get you guys a shot. All right. Who has the second most overall appearances for Los Angeles Football Club? Second most overall apps. Not Hollingshead. And this is an all comp. Now I can't buy you a shot, young man, but yes, Latif Blessing. That's it. So whoever at the table that is of age, y'all come up here. But yes, Latif Blessing, second behind Carlos Vela, at a total of 167.
I'm trying to scope for like a phone or anything like that. He just came with like cerebral knowledge and the point.
My man's got the knowledge. What? You want a root beer? We'll get you a root beer, buddy. Yes,
absolutely.
So I see you real quick. You got the Cole Palmer jersey. What's your name, buddy? Grayson. Are you from the Atlanta area, or where are you from? Chicago. Drive or fly? Fly. Okay, cool. So that clearly your first time inside the Benz. All right, you'll love it when you go in. I promise. The place is beautiful, and that goes for anybody that's here for the first time. the Benz, when you walk in, it is truly a special place, and that's coming from somebody that's there at every game. It never gets old, so it'll be super cool. So we'll get you a root beer, not a beer. And so, what is your prediction? Obviously, you're a Chelsea fan. What's the score?
This might be a little bit out there, but 7-0 Chelsea.
Yo, my man's dropping a touchdown on LA. Okay, I like it. All right,
To be
appreciate
fair,
it, buddy.
to be fair, the kid and I are kind of close in line. I mean, I said LAFC is my dark horse. That's being generous.
I mean, against Chelsea, that's going to be.
I was thinking like a 4-5-0 victory, Chelsea. Just again, you're looking at that checkbook that's just so much larger than what we can do here in MLS.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're just, I think, a little bit more fit for the task.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be I don't think LAFC is going into this game with the mindset that this is going to be simple. I think they fought tooth and nail to get into this tournament in the first place, because of everything that happened. They're not going to want to come out here against whoever it is. It just happens to be Chelsea and give a poor performance.
No.
And, not that it matters a whole lot because you're playing on a different surface and all, but both of these teams have played inside this building multiple times.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of weird to say when you're talking about Chelsea.
Yeah. I do forget, though, too. I mean, we get spoiled with us coming to the Benz for our home matches. That's why we welcome it out the way we did earlier to start the show. If this is your first time at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you're going to be in for a treat. One, AC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a little hot
that
right
air
now.
condition is going to be.
And you're thinking, with 70,000 people, there's no way it's going to get any cooler than right here.
Yep.
Believe it or not, it's insane. Do you know if they're opening up the roof?
I don't think so. I haven't heard. I would be kind of surprised, though. What'll be interesting, though, because even if they don't open it up, because of the temperature outside, they're still going to be doing hydration breaks in the AC.
Yes.
Which cracks me up every time. I don't think it's going to be open, though.
I like a hydration break.
Right? Yeah, there we go. That's perfect timing.
It's a great thing to do. Keeping you
Speaking of, let me go get these guys their drinks. You carry
Absolutely.
on. I'll talk from out here.
get that beer of root over there.
Yeah.
That is how I actually called out when I was much younger. My beverages. I'd be like, I wanted
A root beer?
I want a beer of the root variety.
Root beer, okay.
People would look at me funny. I had a mustache back then too, but root beer, classic choice. Excellent, my friend. But host all of these matches, whether it be World Cup, Club World Cup.
So they don't have root beer.
I get spoiled as an Atlanta United fan that this is what I get to call my backyard. And it's always nice to see through the eyes of the first timer where this is an experience literally like none other. Obviously, bias with the Atlanta United fandom, but I feel like our fan group is second to none. The atmosphere is there.
Yeah.
But when you drape it behind what is this amazing stadium that we have, it's just a combination of it all. Not a bad seat in the house. Again, ton of great food. You feel great the whole time while you're there, no matter the weather. And just an amazing atmosphere that I hope echoes out. I'm curious to see, are we going to have, what's the disparity in fandom between Chelsea and LAFC?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too because, Chelsea being here in the past, Chelsea fans have shown out very well. And, to be fair, when LAFC comes to play Atlanta, they've done pretty well too. But for a regular, season MLS match, not many people are flying 3,000 miles supporter section, away supporter section, just because. It's just how it is, And this is not a North London derby. This is two teams that don't even play each other every season. So when we've seen LAFC supporters they're loud. There's just not that many of them, and I get it. But Chelsea, perennial massive club, has fans all over the world, and just driving in today, you could see the blue wave out here, and this was early. Wrexham shirt, like it, love it. That's good. Wrexham.
AFC
Richmond. Now I've got my clubs mixed. Yes.
You've got your American ownership and American coach.
I got them vice versa. That's my bad.
It seems like it's fictional.
It really does.
The Disney.
It really does.
FC Wrexham.
Yep.
To AFC Richmond. I get it. Love it.
Both start with the R, we'll give it that. But no, we pulled in, and like I said at the beginning of the show, you have license plates in the parking deck from everywhere. I mean, we saw, Illinois, we saw Tennessee, South Carolina, Florida, like everywhere around Georgia, New Jersey, New York. I mean, there are people traveling for this competition, which is cool to see. People driving for this competition. Chelsea is based out of, I believe, Philly, and so they're playing this match kind of in their away set of the three, and then they're going back up to New England or right south of New England. But for this many people to have made the trip just for this match, it's really, really neat to see. Now we'll see what the inside looks like in a couple hours, but so far this has been really encouraging.
Oh, at any time, just like I was saying earlier, when you seeing Copa America here, seeing all of the other, and to think again, we're just priming what is the World Cup.
Yeah.
That it's incredible to see this happen around us, being an ATLian, born and bred, and just to see the potential. Like I would have never thought football, soccer coming here in the way that it has, but on this magnitude, pinch me. There's no way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful moment, and we talk about the Club World Cup versus the World Cup. Take what you're seeing here right now, and next summer it's going to be 10 times this. It's going to be massive. But this is a great quote unquote appetizer to show off what we have.
And I think it's a good transition point, kind of tying it all together with U.S. soccer and, of course, what we have going on right now. We're talking about MLS needing to shell out and really do something, spread the wealth to compete. And I think this, for MLS, it's going to be a big magnifying glass. How our 3 MLS teams do on this run. Obviously, right, we're putting our money in Messi because that's where all of, and I'm talking about we, meaning MLS, because that's where all of our dollars have gone. So, if there's bias there, you really hope that they go far in this tournament. But we have a legendary or storied club, I would say. It's hard to say legendary when you have clubs that have been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
But we have a club and Seattle Sounders who have built the blueprint as far as how an MLS club, with all that they've done. They've been the first and only MLS so far to win our version of the Champions League over here. And then you have another club that looks to be as storied as earlier, where LAFC's seemingly always on a run of either taking home some type of hardware. They haven't been able to capture as many moments. They might be, 2 for 6 as far as potential titles?
That sounds right, yeah. Our LAFC guys up here in the front might be able to correct us, but I think, they've had the opportunities, but I think
many
they've
times,
done it
but
twice.
Trying to recreate that magic. I don't think we have a bad representation of clubs in this Club World Cup tournament with those 3 that we have.
No, I agree. I think as it stands right now in 2025, the most consistent teams that probably deserve to be there are the ones that are there. I mean,
And happy to say that, even though who would have thought I can't own 2 teams into the same tournament.
Right.
I know that next time for when I buy my club.
right, I know. Like when I strap down one in North America, one in Central America, whatever.
But still to see, again, LAFC representing and donning that title, they earned that from Club America. That was an intense match. And to go this far, again, say that to say, these are 3 of our best representing the MLS. How they perform, how they do, I think it's going to be a big microcosm of, it's kind of ironic, big microcosm, but a microcosm of what we might see in the future, depending on how they perform. Because as we've highlighted many times, the real World Cup comes next year. And of course, MLS has that tie with U.S. soccer that you're going to start to see the board going, what is it that we can do to, is it opening up the checkbook? Is it, paying players, a competitive way? Whatever it is, to really making sure that we're representing next year even better than however the MLS teams show out. Real quick before we get out of here, do you have, on behalf of the MLS clubs, where do you think our ceiling is? And I'm talking about 3 versus the world, basically.
Ooh. So here's the deal. Seattle is kind of shafted, if we're being honest. The group is rough. Now, we look at LAFC's group. This first game against Chelsea is tough. On any given day, though, of course, you have Tunis in there. You can beat Tunis, not to underestimate them. Not at all saying that, because we've seen some wild stuff happen, going back even to the past iteration of the Club World Cup. But then you have Flamengo. Flamengo is a great team in Brazil, perennial good team. But I think LA could sneak away with some of those. So this group, you're talking about like LAFC being the dark horse. I think this one might be the best one to get out of as far as groups. And you look at the other MLS team groups, you have Seattle again, and what I would consider the group of death was PSG, Atletico Madrid, and Botafogo. They unfortunately have lost their easiest match. And so they're going to be struggling. And then besides that, you have Inter Miami, who, again, I think their easiest match was always going to be that first one against Al Ahly. Now you've got Porto, one of my Portuguese clubs, and then Palmeiras, who was the other perennial good Brazilian team. I think if anybody's getting out, and look, Lionel Messi always has moments of magic. We know this. But I think on paper, the easiest group to get out of is LAFC. If you make it out, I'll put their ceiling, no offense, LA fans, I'm sorry, but I'll put the ceiling, I'll say they make it 2 matches into the knockout stage.
Wow. I thought my ceiling might be just surviving the group, and then you're probably going out in that first round of knockouts. So say 2 matches in, but you're right. If you get out of the group, it's any man's game. And depending on where you're seated, who's to say? But yeah, they did not do any favors to Seattle Sounders.
No, Seattle got shafted, if we're being honest. That's a tough group. It is the group of death, in my opinion, for this entire tournament. But look, it's soccer. That's the thing, too. The beautiful game. Sometimes it can be dumb. You never know what's going to happen. Look at Atlanta and Miami in the playoffs last year, and just kind of like the expectations, and then all of a sudden they got turned upside down. So that's not to say that all these teams are out of it. I mean, unless you're Auckland City, maybe you might be having some second guesses, but everybody else, man, I think it's there, but it's not lost on any member of the club. LA, Seattle, Miami. Insert other maybe quote unquote lower tier team here. It's not lost on them that they have an uphill battle. It's tough.
Absolutely. It'd be nice if the incentive was there.
Agreed.
to take advantage of the tough work ahead. But hopefully, we see some brilliance, some magic, some Danny Belonga front flips.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I gave my score prediction. I don't know if you did. I find it hard to believe we're not going to see a 4 or 5-0 defeat to Chelsea here. That's just my take on it, looking at it.
I agree. I mean,
I want the front flips. I want at least 2 front flips. That'd be nice.
I think we get 1.
Okay.
I think we get 1 front flip. I think my prediction, again, sorry, LA folks, but I think it's going to be 4-1 Chelsea. I just think, look, the salary, the money situation on paper, that is such a hard thing to overcome. And that's not to say that money wins championships. Look at Atlanta United right now. Don't even get me started. But
why'd you do that?
I know, I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, there is a massive gap in talent between a lot of these clubs. And I just think LA is it's going to be tough. Now, again, though, this is, I think, their hardest match. So you get your really tough one out of the way now, and then you just know, all right, locked in, let's go for these next 2, and we can get out of this group still.
Well, for the most part, in sports, you rise to the level of your competition. So if to what you're saying is accurate to me, they're going to build upon, it's that. It's knowing that, all right, this is our toughest matchup. Let's say we do a 0-0 first half or, 1-0 first half against Chelsea. That's insane.
Oh, yeah.
So that's momentum that you can kind of get behind. Now, again, whether or not it means they're bringing behind 3 goals in the second half, that can be demoralizing, sure, but you find your moments, right? Or let's say it's the other way. You're down 2-0 by the first half, but then you leave a clean sheet in the second half. That's still something that you can get behind and build up and say, we did that to Chelsea. We held the line, figuratively speaking, that, to your point, if there was a group that our MLS clubs are going to get out of, this is the one. You're riding the skirt tails of Chelsea, hanging onto their scarves like, hey, you lead the way and we'll just follow you in that second seed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is that chance, like, and what you said is super accurate, because if LAFC can come out and just don't get blown out, look, I mean, I'm go for the win for sure, but be competitive, give yourself a chance. Goal differential could be a thing. I doubt it, but it could be a thing. But at the end of the day, don't have your heart broken in the first match. Be able to come out in a couple of days, play your second one, and think, all right, like, look, we held our own against a giant. Say these other guys aren't giants, but I mean, if we're being honest, there's a big difference, and you could have some momentum to hold on to and say, all right, let's go get out of this group. We can make it, and then let's just see what happens.
I'm here for it. Crazier things have happened in this beautiful game.
Yes, there have. We still technically have one more drink to give out.
One more drink round.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got to figure out. We got to come up with some good trivia. Should it be? Let's make it Club World Cup overall related. You want to do that?
I like that.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. While I'm coming up with something different here. Obviously, a lot of these people that are here, we're talking about this is their first chance to see the Benz. We kind of touched on it. You've been in there plenty of times. I've been in there plenty of times. One thing that always kind of takes people by surprise when they walk into the Benz is the food prices. For those of you that haven't been inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I hope you're still hungry.
Yeah, you're going to want to eat.
Yeah, I mean, because this is not like going to the baseball game and spending $20 on a hot dog. You're going to be able to go in there and, like, family, you could feed your entire family again for the price of a normal meal out. It's super cheap in there, which is amazing. So you've been there a lot. What is your favorite kind of guilty pleasure food when you go in there?
That's hard to say. Molly B's is nice. I'm a big fan of a nice pickle on a smash burger. I like, it's a fun fact. This is a Monday, which means Chick-fil-A is open.
It is.
It's not something that we can say all the time with the fans of Chick-fil-A. Honestly, there's not a bad bite to eat at all there. Molly B's is like my typical go-to, I would say.
That's fair. The brisket nachos. If y'all are going in here for the first time, or if you're not, and you've never had them, y'all need to go check out the brisket nachos for sure. They're a classic.
Also, as far as seats are concerned, I mean, there's not a bad seat in the house. Typically, right, if we're there for Atlanta United matches, that supporter section is the heartbeat of the stadium. There is no sitting there. It's just all standing. But I would say if I had the club level, they really did a great job designing this field and just how it's used for both the Atlanta Falcons and the NFL team, and then, of course, Atlanta United with our other football team. There's not a bad seat in the house, but if I were to say outside of like club level, anything near pitch side, whether it's like Sky Club, behind the goal,
Yeah.
Anything near that pitch level, or even if you're just, the rung right before you're standing on the pitch, to live and breathe it, that
Yeah.
atmosphere, to hear the players going back and forth with each other, that's always cool to see.
Yeah, you get really involved in it when you're down on that grass level. And it is kind of neat, too, because those of you that may not know this, normally inside the bins is an artificial turf surface. They have taken a leaf out of Bayern Munich's book, the Allianz Arena's book. The type of grass that they have installed inside the bins now, the way that it's kind of being maintained and grown is very, very similar to how Munich does theirs. Munich obviously having to deal with very cold weather for a lot of the year, but trying to keep that, because theirs is a hybrid grass turf. That's what this is. But this time around, because we've had Copa America last year, we've had other tournaments where they've had grass installed. And maybe somewhat famously in Atlanta circles, a certain country that played here did not like it, Argentina.
Wasn't appreciative of it.
Yeah. But they had some things to say about it. Well, this time around, I mean, they're essentially growing a full turf pitch, and they have the UV lights set up. So this is like essentially the precursor to what you're going to see next year for the actual World Cup. So it'll be neat. It'll be kind of cool to see an actual full pitch made out of grass instead of it kind of piece parted together. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. And yeah, if you're talking about seats, if you can get down there to where you can hear the players yelling and screaming at each other and the refs, it's usually a pretty good day.
Most of the time it's yelling at the refs.
Yeah. All right. So, final trivia question. I'm going to rule out our two that have already won, but I am going to ask anybody that wants to jump in. Again, you can Google, you can use your phone, you can whatever resource, phone a friend, I don't care. Just get up here and give me the answer. If you're the first one to get up here and give me the answer without taking out like half the bar, then you get a shot.
Final free shot.
Final free shot. So, that being said, everybody's phones are out. I see some people. In the Club World Cup, what was the first English team to win? The first English team to win a Club World Cup. Not Liverpool. I heard somebody say Liverpool. I need to be able to see. If you want to, wait, hang on, because I'm trying to. Manchester United. Yep. So my man back there with the hat on. I'll give you this one. So yeah, Man U. Back before things started going downhill for Man U.
They reached their peak, you could say.
Yeah, they peaked. Things are a little bit of a struggle now, but yeah, Man U. Interestingly, the first three versions of this tournament, Brazilian teams won. Corinthians, Sao Paulo, and then Internacional, and then Milan won it, and then Man U. So it's been all over the place, but now we have the big one here.
Absolutely.
This year. So it'll be really, really interesting to see kind of how this one plays out.
I'm, again, happy to see it being done for the first time here, where we're sprawling out, right? And this big nation that we have, and just going over and seeing what they played, the Rose Bowl, the matches I watched a couple of days ago, playing it back over here. So coast to coast, and all throughout the rest, it's so cool to see the country this way, with all these different teams, all these different supporters coming from all around to get behind this club and get behind this tournament. Best of luck to any other team, club that you're getting behind. We've got LAFC, we've got Chelsea. Is anybody pulling for you? I see Real Madrid.
Yeah.
That's one to point out of note. I'm curious, where are my Boca Junior fans at?
That's what I'm saying. There's some other good games coming up later today. That's going to be a fun one. So, yeah, I'm curious because I've seen a couple other jerseys. We talked about the Richmond kit. I've seen some Atlanta United kits outside, which is cool. Hey, hometown heroes. But I haven't seen a ton of other ones. I did see some German national team ones, which I thought was interesting on the way in.
I've seen that too when I was watching Rose Bowl. And when that's also one of those things as well where it's hard to delineate Club World Cup, where I've been able to see fans that are just there to take in what this great event is. I remember I was watching, it was Atletico Madrid versus PSG, and we had some LAFC fans just hanging out with their kid, watching, and who knows if they're a fan of their club, but just being there in representation of this beautiful game. I think that's the cool thing to see throughout all of this, whether it is Club World Cup or World Cup next year. I know here at Copa America last year, there were so many people that obviously it's hard not to be here for Messi when Argentina is coming, but fans of just this game and fans of some of these players, and they're just the action. And I think that is something you can hang your hat on, knowing that this is just going to keep getting better, especially here in Atlanta. We have Copa America, we've got the Club World Cup, FIFA World Cup, Olympics whenever that comes through. That this is the place to be right now. Atlanta is for sure, where how many matches, how many events we're hosting right here behind us. I mean, we just had the UFC here a couple days ago too. So to see
And it was off the chain.
Yeah, that was a great match as well. Speaking of different type of matchup, but to see all of these events popping up, I think it's never been a better time to be a football fan than right now, especially, I'd say, as an American, just because of looking at your backyard. You've got some of the biggest matches that, right? Like, people have traveled across the pond, thousands of miles for, that you just have to take a train or, in our case, we're driving everywhere, but it's right there in your backyard. So embrace the tournament, enjoy the tournament. I'm hoping to catch as many matches as I can. I'm mad I'll be missing this one, but I'll be tuning in for everything else.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's an exciting moment. There's a lot of wild stuff going on right now, and I'm not going to get into it all. But at the end of the day, this is an opportunity to go see a match that you otherwise would probably never see. And this entire tournament is essentially that. Go enjoy it. Stay away from all the BS going on in life. Have fun. Hanging out here at a bar. You're going into one of the nicest stadiums. Admittedly, I'm being a little biased, but I think it's pretty fair to say one of the nicest in the world. Just have fun. Enjoy the tournament. Enjoy it for what it is. And, me and you both have kids. It's awesome for them to be able to see these things happening in our country in terms of soccer and it growing. You've got, guys like Racing over here that, they come in to see this kind of moment. It's just really exciting. And I like where our country in terms of soccer and growing this sport is going.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, this beautiful game. Happy belated Father's Day. Hopefully it was a great one yesterday. I know I got to enjoy my first one as well. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what that looks like for my daughter when she grows up. World Cup always feels like it's so far away. And to now be as close as we are, I'm like, where does the time go?
I feel like yesterday I was waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to watch Argentina, Saudi Arabia in 2022. And I'm like, man, that's going to be so long. I wonder if the U.S. is going to, how it's going to go. And here we are. We're a year away.
And then to think the next one of these will be in 2029, it's like, my girl will be going to kindergarten.
I know.
Next time that happens.
Yeah.
So it's cool to follow the game in that respect as well.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that, we both have daughters. The women's game is growing exponentially in this country. In the world. But it feels like in this country, in many ways, it's growing faster than the men's game. And I think that's great to see because it helps that they're perennially very good and they have a great coach and they do well in tournaments. But at the end of the day, the NWSL is growing, the Super League, like all these things are growing, and it's fun to see from like a parent perspective, someone that has a daughter, like they have people to look up to in this sport as they get older.
Role models, opportunities, because it's not just, all those leagues you mentioned, it's also other styles of competition. TST just wrapped up.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, we're big followers of World Cup whenever that happens, supporting our women, showing as a good example of what the men should be doing, but hey.
Yeah, for real.
The game is just going so much over here that it's cool to see story clubs like, Chelsea coming to town or Man City and the next one coming in where I can't wait for our clubs to have that kind of history.
Yep.
Right now, the closest thing we have is the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
Yeah.
As far as our
And
oldest
then we don't
soccer.
take that seriously half the time, which is frustrating. But yeah,
Right, but to get here right in those next 5 years, when we do have, next 4 years, when we do have another World Cup coming here for the Club World Cup, hopefully Atlanta United's in it, but also see that time shift of like, that just means 4 more years of history that we can get behind. Hopefully we got more hardware going in there, making more international appearances, whatnot, that every time coming here, especially for, like I was saying, for these more recent events, Copa America, all these things, seeing this beautiful multicultural blend of just not population, but also club and support. It's such a cool thing to see. And that's why, of course, they call it the beautiful game.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. And look, guys, y'all have a little over an hour before things really get going. And I mean, looking out over here, it looks like, people are really starting to file in, especially up at the main gate where the Falcon is at. But look, it's here.
Oh, yeah, that line is starting.
Yeah, it's getting there for sure. So, look, we'll wrap it up. I'll give the quick shameless plug again. Y'all go follow Scarves and Spikes, like, subscribe, all that good stuff over on YouTube and all the social medias. We appreciate it. And thank you guys for diving in. We hope more than anything that you enjoy your time in our fair city of Atlanta if you're coming from out of town, or if this is your first time in the Benz. Enjoy it, take it all in, have a great time. And I don't know what else to say, man. That's
Be
it.
merry, be well, pre-game, the main game.
That's right.
And enjoy it, Go blue black.
Appreciate you guys.